Hi, and welcome again to Tea Time with Michelle. I've had a couple of issues and I've changed to a new camera and a new computer, so hopefully everything goes really well today. I've recorded a couple of videos already on this for some other things that I do, and this has turned out really to be a great camera. It's a Logitech camera, and I'm really enjoying using it. Today, outside, it is very yucky. So I needed my little Ziggy smile reminder mug so that it was a little bit of sunshine in my day. Ziggy, if you are somewhat older, maybe somebody who was around in the 70s, was a huge cartoon character back in the 70s, and I loved Ziggy. And he always was sunny and bright in disposition. So here's a little bit of sunshine today for you. What I want to talk about today is basically how important it is to be careful about who's watching, because someone is always watching. My husband's absolute favorite movie is probably Monsters, Inc. He just gets hysterical when he watches it, and he probably doesn't want anyone else to know that, so shh, we'll keep it our little secret. But he does love Monsters, Inc. And in that movie, there is a character named Roz. And Roz is this character who goes around saying that she's always watching. And I'm not going to try to do her voice or imitate her, but the point is that throughout the movie, she really is always watching. And she's not just watching, but she's observing. She's taking in information, more information maybe than what's really there or what appears to the eye. So I want to encourage you that there usually is somebody watching, and they're always watching you. So now, hang on a second, I'm going to close something out here. There we go. I want to read something to you off of my computer. And this was a testimonial sent to me by a gentleman who follows me on Facebook and Twitter about a title holder. Now, he doesn't have anything to do with pageants, but because he's followed me for long enough, he knows that I know a lot about pageants, and he told me I could share this story with you. So I'm just going to read it to you right now. Tonight on my flight home, I was sitting in front of a very well-spoken young lady. We were packed pretty tightly in our seats, so I couldn't turn around and introduce myself until the end of the flight. I was also in a middle seat, so I didn't want to disrupt the person sitting to my left. But I could hear bits and pieces of the conversation with her seatmate. She mentioned Donald Trump several times and how she is studying and preparing. The word interview came up frequently. So I'm putting together the pieces. Does she work for Mr. Trump? Have an upcoming interview with his organization? Then I finally figured it out. Sitting one row behind me was the current Miss Pennsylvania USA. She was quite friendly and kind. When we deboarded, I handed her a note with my blogs and email address and wished her much success at Miss USA. I also told her a little bit about my dream and how discouraged I became last month, but she gave me a few encouraging words. You'll get it next time. And then she was off to make her connecting flight. Hope the plane waited for her. The point being is that here was a young woman who had no idea that she was actually making an impression on a total stranger. But because she was poised and graceful, had very good manners, he walked away with a great impression of her. He could have walked away with a very different impression of pageant girls altogether if she had been rude or insensitive, but she wasn't. She was grace and poise, even on a long flight. So the point of where I'm going is that, first of all, you never know who's watching. So you need to always be prepared. That's not to say that we can't lose it. Everybody loses it once in a while. When you do, you need to own it and apologize or try to make amends. So yesterday I had totally stressed myself out over things that were going on, and I snapped at my husband a little bit, and I'm not proud of that. But later on, I made a point to go back and apologize to him because I know that's not who I normally am. I'm usually a very encouraging and happy person. And he knew that too. And so by apologizing, it opened up a conversation for him to ask me, well, what really was going on? He knew that it was something more than that. And that's where being consistent is so important, that you're consistently kind and poised, because you never know who's watching, whether it's on social media or at your local grocery store or on a plane. You just never know who's watching you. And even with your friends, this is where it's really important to be consistent. If you whine and complain a lot around your friends, they're going to think that you whine and complain a lot about them, not just other things. So, although that's not to say you can't have maybe a couple of close friends that you can confide in, try to keep your conversations positive and never say negative things about other people or other things, because once you do, you start opening that Pandora's box of everybody whining and complaining, then rumors get started, and then everything gets blown out of proportion. So yes, it takes a lot of self-control. But remember those manners that you were taught. Things like please and thank you. Everybody take your turns in line. Being nice and polite. Using a nice voice. Even if you're angry about something, angry answers are not going to help the situation. So if you're maybe calling a company because you have a complaint about something, try using a very nice tone of voice. I find it works really, really well when I talk to someone. If I'm pleasant to them, I get a much better result. So even just on the phone with a company, that can make a huge difference. So I want to encourage you today to grab a book that's called Who You Are When No One Is Looking. I wish I could find my copy of it because I would show you what it looks like. But it's a great book that talks about you need to be the same person when no one's looking and when someone is looking, because in this day and age of social media, you never know who is looking. So last but not least, I'm going to leave you with this thought. I would love to know, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? It could be from your mom, your dad, a teacher, a good friend, maybe even a total stranger. What's the best advice you've ever received? So go ahead and leave a comment below this video, or you can pop over to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/MichelleFieldLLC.com. Head over to my website, michellefieldllc.com, and you can leave a message there, because I always post my videos on my website. So I would love to hear what's the best piece of advice you've ever received.